Alright, so today's lecture for Media and Politics will be short and sweet because Thursday is going to be the day that we have all of the interactions and engagement, since we're talking about media and public opinion on Thursday. We're also going to talk about it a little bit today, but in order for Thursday to go as well as I want it to go, today's meeting is going to be short, which is why it's being recorded now. So first things first, talk about the exam. I'm still in the process of grading it, but to make sure that we have enough time on Thursday to do what I want us to do, decided it would be expedient for me to review the midterm today. So we're going to go through the midterm. I'll tell you the answers, and I'll leave this portion of the video up for a week, just like I did for PG 111, and then after that I will take this video down. So let's go through it. Of course, there were 26 multiple choice questions, each worth 3 points, and then 4 short answer questions, each worth 10 points. Of course, it was open books, all that stuff. And let's get into it. So first things first are the short answer questions. Number 1, what are the major types of media bias that have been identified by scholarship and public debate? And of course, in identifying the biases, be sure to define them. The answer, your answer should have been the types: ideological, affective, and informational. Ideological, aka partisan bias, is the most common type of political media bias. It's the preferences affecting one's perception and understanding of an issue. Affective bias is the emotional responses to situations that affects one's perception and understanding of an issue, and is caused by critical news content on the government, politicians, and policies. Okay, then informational bias is the removal of information, context, and perspectives from the news that can affect one's perception and understanding of an issue. Let's see, and then there are 4 types of information bias: personalization, dramatization, fragmentation, and then authority disorder. Number 2, list and define the 5 models of newsmaking. So this was from very, very early in the semester. The 5 models of newsmaking. Number 1 is the mirror model. News is and should be a reflection of reality. 2, professional model. News is conducted by professionals who put together a balanced and interesting collage of events. 3, organization model. Pressures and organizational goals that spring from relations among journalists and their sources, as well as professional norms, will determine which stories get published. 4, political model. News everywhere reflects ideological biases of the individual news people and pressures of the political environment. And then the 5th model is civic journalism. Press can discover citizens' concerns and write stories that help audiences play an active and successful role in public life. And then 3, describe the 3 ways partisan media give a distinct slant to daily news and events. So we talked about this right before the midterm. This is from the Lewandowski reading posted on Blackboard. The 3 ways are as follows. 1, they slant how they talk about the issues of the day, offering one-sided coverage of political controversies and debates, and devoting disproportionate coverage to topics and issues that favor them. 2, they talk about the other side consistently in negative terms, criticizing not only their policy positions, but their motivations for enacting policies and particular issues to illustrate a more systematic pattern of flawed behavior from the other side. And then 3, for elections, these shows make it clear which candidate the viewers should support, not only supporting said candidate, but also denouncing the competition. So those are the 3 ways. And then number 4, what is selective exposure? What are the 3 theories of selective exposure? Also from the new media and partisan media section. Selective exposure is defined as people tending to favor information that reinforces their pre-existing views while avoiding contradictory information. So you're only consuming information that confirms your priors. And of course, the three theories of selective exposure are, let me get down to them, the attentive public, partisan polarization, and then the issue public. For the attentive public, people interested in politics tune into all forms of news, whereas the apolitical or non-political majority pays very little attention to news in any medium. The second one, partisan polarization. People prefer to encounter information that supports their beliefs and avoids information that is inconsistent with those beliefs. And then the third one being the issue public. People seek out information about subjects that are particularly important or interesting for them, and tune out information about other subjects. Those are your short answer answers. Let's get into the multiple choice, the rest of the exam. True, false. For number 5, government influence is the primary determinant of what and how things get covered in the U.S. media. The correct answer is false. 6, which of the following are the 4 roles that the media plays in society? It's D, surveillance, interpretation, socialization, and manipulation. For 7, what type of media has the largest news audience? That is C, television news. 8, blank is journalism exposing misconduct in government and calling for reforms. That is muckraking. 9, what types of demographic characteristics do advertisers pay the most attention to as indicators of programming preferences? The answer is G, all of the above. 10, which of the following platforms sees the most growth for news use? That is D, social media. 11, as cable channel providers and the number of television channels per household has increased, audience shares for the 3 major broadcast channels have decreased. That's true. 12, only a third of the world's countries have full press freedom. That's true. 13, Assange, Manning, and Snowden share the distinction of being viewed as heroic by some and villainous by others. That is a true. 14, agenda setting in the media can be described as which of the following? C, those issues that get the most coverage are ranked as most important. 15, where do most Americans think news bias comes from? B, the biases of journalists within the organizations. 16, which of the following do journalists most often list as the main reason people distrust the media today? That is C, political polarization in the mass public. 17, the public's evaluations of the news media credibility fit within which of the following patterns? That's A, confidence and credibility has been decreasing. 18, which of the following genres of news programming has the largest daily audience? That is C, local TV news. 19, the proliferation of local news programming in the U.S. has led to which of the following? That is D, increased coverage of local crime stories focusing on individual perpetrators. Recall, if it bleeds, it leads. Even though nowadays it's more so if you're coughing, it leads. But that's just the struggle we're in right now. 20, news coverage of political campaigns tends to emphasize D, all of the above. 21, horse race news dominates coverage of presidential campaigns for which of the following reasons? D, all of the above. 22, which of the following factors is considered part of the organizational process model of news? That is D, all of the above. 23, shows like The Daily Show and Full Frontal employ blank, a form of humor that uses ridicule to expose human errors, usually to deconstruct power surrounding said event or issue. That is A, satire. 24, blank is the way in which society transmits political orientations from generation to generation. That is A, political socialization, and we'll talk more about that Thursday. 25, what is the official definition for political communication? That is A, complex communicative activity in which language and symbols exert a multitude of effects on individuals and society, as well as on the outcomes of public policy. And then our last, well, actually, no, not our last. We still got more questions. How did I say 26, 27? Anyways, 26, all of the following are correct regarding 24-hour cable news, except A, viewership peaked and then has gone downhill ever since. And then 27, what political activities are the Huffington Post, Daily Mail, and Drudge Report best known for? That is E, breaking news and political commentary. 28, which of the following is not an illustration of how the internet has changed how citizens participate in the political process? That is A, political rumors can be tracked and refuted with greater efficiency and speed. 29, news coverage is said to interact with personal circumstances in setting an individual's agenda. Which of the following demonstrates this? A, elderly people are more responsive to news coverage of Social Security. 30, blank is an organizing theme or narrative that gives meaning to an event or series of events. A, frame. And that's the end of it. I realized that I think in the thingy I said it was 26 when it was really 30. Did I really write 26? Woo! Yeah, but there was 30. I hope that you all completed the entire exam and disregarded the typo that was in the instructions. That is the, the exam. Now getting back into what we're going to do, what I want you all to do in preparation for Thursday, which will be fun times ahead. So, let's see, open it. Okay, so this is where we're going to be. Media and public opinion, Perloff chapters 5 and 10, Iyengar chapter 8, as well as chapter 4 from, Chapter 4 from Evaluating Media Bias. That book by Schiffer that is also on Blackboard. So in preparation for Thursday, no, you don't need to turn this in, but this is what I want you all to think about so we can talk about it on Thursday. I want you to tell me about the first time you thought about politics. The very, very first time. What year was it? How old were you? Where were you? Who was with you? Regale me in the story of your childhood or your adolescence. I want you to tell me what the thought was. Was it in conversation with someone, etc.? It shouldn't take that long. I mean, you can reflect on it now. I can tell you mine. Let's see. The year was 2000. I was 10 years old. I was in the 5th grade at Hillcrest Baptist Church School. They had brought in the old-timey ballot boxes where you had to punch the hole in, and we were going to vote for the president. Kids picked the president, and I remember, of course, it was, Son, Bush, and Gore, and then there was another person. I want to say his name was Buchanan, and I remember everyone was like, Gore, Bush, and I was like, you know what? I don't like either item, so I'm going to vote for Buchanan, and that's who I voted for. And that was like the first time I thought about politics. Of course, I really didn't think anything else about it until the recount happened, and I thought it was so weird that they being Florida could not get it together and count all the votes. And then ultimately I didn't learn anything more about it until I was in high school. But those were like my first instances thinking about politics. So hopefully use that as a motivation. I'll ask y'all about it at the beginning of class Thursday. I also have some attack ads, but in order for this section to go well, take some time, think about it. I'll ask you all, what were your first thoughts? Of course, no, don't turn it in when you're finished, because we're not doing any more short answer assignments. No more short assignments. The only short assignment that still exists, quote unquote, is your 5 Twitter threads. So as I stated in the email, if you missed your own date, you better pick another day. So like I am going to go through each thread and make sure all of the threads, all of the posts that are in each dated thread are by that date. If it's late, I'm not going to count it. And the way that you'll know that I didn't count it is you'll receive a 0. So there are now threads for the rest of the semester. Remember, you have to have 5 done, and it just can't be any old thing. You will get graded on the quality of it. Those who did them earlier in the semester received leniency. So for those of you who have not started on your Twitter threads, yeah, you're going to have to look at those early ones for inspiration, as well as think critically and provide interesting, engaging thoughts. So yeah, we can talk about the coronavirus, other things that you can talk about, celebrity response to the coronavirus, the ways in which some celebrities are asking for money. If you're interested in going down the rabbit hole that is the conspiracy theories, word on the street is that the coronavirus isn't real, but instead is being used as a cover to arrest everyone from Ellen DeGeneres to Oprah to Tom Hanks. If you want to go down that rabbit hole and explain it for the class, go for it. You can talk about for the bird truthers out there. They say that this is not real because, we got to change the batteries in the birds. There are all types of things you can tweet about. You can talk about how it seems like no one's talking about the presidential election anymore. Why do you think that's the case? Or if you want to try and circle it back to what we're reading about, what do the authors, what do Iyengar and Perloff have to say about news in times of crisis? News reporting in times of crisis. Like, what do we do when everyone is forced to stay in the house? What happened during the Spanish flu, 102 years ago? How did they handle news? Now, of course, TV wasn't a thing. They only had radio. But still, is there anything in history or in the history of news media or the study of media or communicative policies, etc., that can explain or shed light on what's going on at this time? So that's all I have for us today. This is why I'm recording it. We'll pick up for real Thursday 2:40, and we'll talk about this stuff here. Enjoy the rest of your day.